What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, joined by my co-host tonight.
D 21, what's up?
Well, the Knicks just wrapped up their road trip game, so I think our predictions, you had them 4-0. I had
Yeah,
3-1. The Knicks ended up finishing 2-2 on the road. We're gonna dive into those games that they just couldn't snag up. I guess winning against both Houston and dropping their game against Atlanta, both on the road. But the Knicks are back home Friday night. Knicks, they'll be playing at home tonight against Milwaukee. We'll touch on that later on. But pretty much over the past two games, the Knicks have been outscored in the paint by 46 points, 120 to 74. Another thing I wanted to point out is that the Knicks are 0-3 when they grab fewer rebounds than their opponents. So we'll kick it off with Houston. Knicks played Houston. The Knicks lost 109 to 97. Şengün, he pretty much handled the Knicks. He finished with 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 of those points were scored in the fourth quarter, which ultimately helped them close it up and wrap it up against the Knicks. Fred VanVleet finished with 19, and Jalen Green had 15. Um, I don't know. The Knicks, they lost control of that game. I thought the defense wasn't the greatest either, but they did go on a run in the last 2 minutes and they was able to get within five before halftime as well. But Houston pretty much they led most of the game. They led by 15 points early before the Knicks was able to catch into that game within one, like late in the fourth quarter. And then Thompson dunked the ball. He did a nice fake and then dunked the ball.
oh yeah.
Then the following play, there was a three made by Green, and that made it 105-97 with pretty much less than a minute to go. I thought Houston did a good job of getting several players involved offensively. They had four of their starters finish in double figures, and then they had Amin Thompson. He finished with 12 off the bench. And what's crazy is Houston won that game despite just being 8 of 33 from the 3-point line. Green was 0 for 6, and then he was 2 of 8. And then Van Vliet and Jabari Smith Jr., they were only 1 of 5. So, and then Houston did have 15 fast break points. New York only finished with 7. And then they had 62 points in the paint, and the Knicks only had 38. So
trust your teammates as much as we all loved you.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure exactly from my standpoint, the defense is not good. A lot of easy open baskets. And it's funny because when I watch both the Houston game and I watch the Atlanta game, it kind of reminds me of a lot of what you used to say last year with the Knicks at times, depending on the lineup. To me, the Knicks just look too small. We don't look like we have any height. And the
We
only
don't.
person that looks like he's able to really snag a rebound is Cat. And I don't know, from you, I want to hear your game outline on that Houston game, but I also want to know, like, what is it? Do we need to maybe get other guys more involved besides Josh Hart, who we know could get rebounds? Does OG need to start helping out with the rebounds? I mean, because what are you going to do until Precious and Mitchell Robinson get back? The Knicks look very short. There's really nobody grabbing boards. And I also saw in both games and those losses, a lot of standing around watching, not boxing out, the
Yeah.
switches on defense, not communicating. I saw that several times in both games. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? I get it's early. Get all of the kinks out now. But just like these are small, minute things. And I know you said in our last live, you said, oh, well, there's things that they're going to be working on that they still got to develop. But listen, I don't want to keep pushing out development, not necessarily individual player development, but to development as a team. And also, I don't want to keep pointing to the word continuity, which was overused last year. But let me get your breakdown of the Houston game that the Knicks played.
Well, I definitely agree. We do look tight. Um, and quite frankly, they gonna they're gonna maybe have a 2-game win streak and maybe lose 2 or 3 because of the lack of height and then the lack of depth. You know, when you're using an 8-man rotation, which Tibbs is using, I mean, it, that's gonna I think that's gonna continue this. You know, what is it? We have fans like on paper they look great and they are great, but it's to me it's a work in progress. But I'm gonna touch on that. But for me, like I just think like they just again, like you said, they just lack height. The interior defense, they would just let the team just score on them because there's like uh, Cully pointed out. He said there's no rim protection, which is true. There isn't. But that's that's something we're gonna Knicks have to just deal with until help comes along. You know, um,
Your
they were
sound is a
outscored.
little. Your sound is doing what it did last time. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's your Wi-Fi connection, but I don't know if you want to log out and come back in really quickly, or maybe move over maybe a little bit to your right, maybe because your sound sounds like almost like something's not plugged in all the way or something, or your Wi-Fi. I'm not sure
yeah.
what's causing that. Your video quality is clear, but your sound is going in and out.
Let me log out
Yeah,
and
and
come.
come back in.
Yeah, you hit
I'll
that.
I'll keep recounting on that Houston game. And salute to the chat for everybody that's here joining us this evening. Normally we're on Thursdays, but we're here tonight. We want to recap these games. Um, but like I was saying, Houston had 15 fast break points to New York 7. That's a huge difference. They had 62 points in the paint, and the Knicks only had 38 points in the paint. So, you know, I think there's a disparity there that we have to talk about. And I'm wondering what the points in the paint, if this is happening because we don't have that other defensive presence and a bigger center guy like Mitchell Robinson down there. Maybe you don't have the help from Precious Achua like you normally have. But this is a problem. And I think that we have to figure it out quick. Because to me, I don't think it's smart to have other guys like your Josh Hart, you know, what's his name, Bridges, OG. You don't want them trying to like do too much help defense. We saw it in the last 2 games that the Knicks lost. When there was times where Bridges or maybe Deuce or other guys was coming in to help, there was someone open in the paint. And especially in that Atlanta game, the Knicks didn't really do a good job. I didn't think Garden Trey. I know we're going to get on Atlanta, but I just wanted to bring that up, point that out really quickly. But against Houston, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to break down how do the Knicks make these changes with what working with the roster that they're working with. I don't think working with 7 guys on a roster is fitting right now for this team. I do think that Thibodeau needs to figure out, bringing in other guys off the bench so they can play as well. But yeah, I think that definitely we have to make some changes because this is not going to work just playing, 7, 8 guys on a roster. I do think that even with the guys off the bench coming in, will they be a help and make a difference? I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I think something's got to happen and something fast. I thought that on the bright side, I thought the Knicks did a good job again with recapping the Houston game. I thought the Knicks did a good job not giving up on that game, as we saw a lot of that last season where the Knicks were able to capitalize and somehow stay in games, not get blown out, and were able to get back in that game. I thought Josh Hart did an excellent job pushing the ball up the floor. He had really good passes and was able to get those, you know, quick passes up the floor, and we were able to capitalize and give it to Cat or OG and was able to get the easy bucket. But I just thought the defense just wasn't good. And that was one of these, this has been one of my complaints so far this season with the Knicks is that the defense just hasn't been good. But I don't know. I think that right now, this Knicks team has to figure out we have a height disparity, and you can't rely on just Karl Anthony Towns to be the guy that's going to give you the points in the paint, that's going to give you the rebounds that you need as well. I think we need to address that. And I'm wondering, how do you address that when you don't have both Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achua in the game? I'm not worried about the Knicks necessarily offensively. Like, the Knicks are actually doing really well from beyond the arc this season, which is great. We have guys that can score, but I really think the Knicks' biggest problem is the lack of height. And I think that our defense is at a low level right now. I think the Knicks have to pick up the defense and bring it to a higher level than what it is. It's just not good. It's not good. And the fact that we're getting outbeat and outplayed in the paint is a problem right now. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But go ahead, Diva Locks. Finish what you were saying about Houston.
No, I mean, like you said, they were just like outscored. You touched on a lot of things, just being outscored in points in the paint. Um, it's outside of Cat, you get a spurt from OG, but seems like they're struggling. Mikel, for whatever reason, he had trouble with the coverage on Van Fleet. So, it was just like a total collapse, a team effort. So it wasn't like, it's on, because it's a 5-man game. It was a team collapse for me. They couldn't get, those crucial stops, when needed. Um, and the Rockets, they played them physical, and the Knicks couldn't like match that energy, as far as how they were being played. They're a young team. They're coached very well. Emo, Doku, like he's a great coach. So he has those guys on the cusp, and they're only going to get better. Um, so just overall, like what they weren't able to do, you gotta guard your man. You gotta box out. Yeah, we're at a deficit as far as height, but you like you said, you can't just stand there and watch the ball go to your man. Put some effort into it. So I just those are the things that they like just lacking, and what causes those, I guess, those losses amongst a lot of things. Sims, man, they got to figure out like how can they get this guy more involved. You know, he's taken like he's played all these minutes thus far, and he's like taking 6 shots. You the second backup from Cat. Like, you got to work on your game. They got to find a way to like implement this guy. He needs some work. And to me, he's coming in to help, but is that the help that we need? So I mean, those are just like just things that they definitely have to work on. And they just unfortunately just couldn't. They got close, and then Jalen, he's struggling. Down the stretch. He's can't find that shot, that rhythm when and that timely shot at that. Sometimes I find he's like forcing it. So, and when you force it, is that hurts your team.
Right.
So it was. I thought it was a winnable game for the most part, but then again, like with Houston being so young and just like athletic, their height, things like that they make up for, when they get outbeat, and that's what they did with the Knicks. They outplayed them, out muscled them, played physical with them. So and that's what scout was for. Like, we got to figure out how, what can we do to stop them, and they did. They stopped them for the most part.
But do you think that I'm gonna go back to what you were saying a little bit on Brunson. You feel like Brunson is forcing things, or is it that Brunson is overthinking, or is it a combination of the both? Um, because remember I was saying I feel like Jalen has to figure out a balance of being a facilitator and going off and scoring and doing his thing scoring as well. But do you
I
think,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, but do you think that with Brunson, is it a case of he's holding back some and then he's overthinking, or he's at times maybe when we need him to put up, because he's known to put up the last second shot for us, he's holding, like, what is it, he's holding back, or he's not giving us enough like he did last year? What do you feel is missing with him, or that he needs to give us more of or less of?
I think it's a combination of all that. It's, overthinking, sometimes feeling like he has to take that last shot, he has to be the man. Um, I don't want to say aggressive because he stays that. And then now teams are figuring out ways to like stop him. And
Right.
remember that prime example when Oubre played him, like they put a bigger, so they teams put a bigger body on him. And so that kind of started like take you off your out of your game. But he figures it out like the
Right.
next game. So it's just a matter of him like figuring it out, and you know, there's no need to press the panic button. It's just 7 games. Like they they'll figure it out. So I think it's a combination of that and just like, you know, again, he's overthinking, and now and you got these new faces and you got to incorporate them. And he just has to just learn, and once they figure it out and able to, get that, I don't want to, again, I don't want to, use the chemistry, but once they start clicking and gelling, they'll put some games together and string some wins, and and they'll be above 500. They, like I said in the last podcast, like once that gel and they start meshing, get to know the spots, and that's X, Y, and Z. They will get there. I equate it to like, you got to realize these are 3 guys that were the man on their team that's used to having a ball in their hand. Brunson, Cat, he was the man on Minnesota, and Bridges, he was that guy for Brooklyn. So now Cat and Bridges, they became the second and the third option.
Mm-hmm.
So once they figure out their role, and the more they play, that's why it's for me, it's no need to panic. They'll figure it out. Like, so they're like the second and third option. You know what I'm saying? So once they get that, I mean, I'm they're gonna struggle right now. And I think that's fair. Like I said, as fans, we want them to like win, 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 win. They These guys, they got to figure out their role. And it's easier for us to say because we're fans, but to be on that court, that practice and X, Y, and Z, and it's not something that's easy. Like you could turn it off a forcer on and off. It don't work like that. Especially New Yorkers, and even the people that left. They want them to win every game. The best of them are falling. Only one that's undefeated right now is the Cavs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the best of them lose.
Yeah. I think the Knicks, it's okay that they start off slow.
Yeah.
And that they are making these mistakes now.
Yeah.
These are not this is not the kind of play and mistakes you want to see late in the season, or even after the halfway point. Now that's when you have some concerns. So yes, I think that with the few additions that we've had, the new additions that we've had to this team, we have rookies, you have a couple of injuries, as both Mitchell Robb and Precious Achua are still out injured. I do think that even if they were here, this could be happening as well. Maybe the record could be a little better, but I think that this is the time that this Knicks team needs to make these mistakes, right? And that they will figure out their chemistry as the team goes along. And I think that's a great point that you brought up at, our version of a 3-headed monster with Cat, Bridges, and Brunson being the man respectively on their previous teams, and then coming to the Knicks, having to figure out how to play together offensively. And I do think that that's a big portion of what's going on with this Knicks team so far, is that offensively, we all know that these guys can shoot. This is a problem we had maybe like 3 years ago, where we didn't really have enough offensive power on this Knicks team, where it heavily relied on both Randall and then Brunson came along. So it was just those two guys. And then finally you got OG, because we didn't really know what was going to happen with RJ and Quickly, but we still didn't have enough offensively powered forward guys on this team. Now that we do, I just think that they have to figure out how to gel together game in, night out in each game. But again, I agree with you. I'm not pushing the panic button. It still is very early. I think this team is going to figure out how to come together, how to play together. I think one of the biggest things, aside from that part of it offensively, this Knicks team has to figure out how to play better defense. And I said I'm going to preach defense this entire season, because we saw when the Knicks were locked in last year, they were able to lock in, get a bunch of steals, get a bunch of blocks, cause shot clock violations last season. And then, this year, like, I'm seeing a lot of times where there's a switch. Like I said at the top of this show, there seems to be miscommunication amongst guys. And I don't know what it is sometimes in like the NBA, that guys move away from when they're in college and they talk to each other. And they don't really do that in the NBA. You above that. I'm too good to talk and let you know. Behind you, woo, to the right. I don't got the bag. I'm too good for that. Now, I don't know what that's about, but no one does that anymore in the NBA. But I'm looking at some of the switches and guys are not talking. Simple talk, a simple woo, something to help. I mean, something's better than staying quiet and just shoving somebody's back, trying to tell them to go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As if you don't have a voice, a vocal box to say anything. And then we have a serious issue with the height. And this Knicks team has to figure it out, because this is why I was saying, I don't know if you need to have maybe, how like sometimes teams, there's coaches that say maybe except for whoever's at the top of the key, maybe that point guard who's at the top of the key, and maybe one other guy, everybody else needs to be crashing the boards. I don't know if we need to go to that.
Yeah.
Something's got to give, because Shingun, he had his way against the Knicks.
Oh yeah.
He was playing Karl Anthony Towns like he's been in this league for 15 plus years. Like,
and he's just 22. So
schooling him on the floor with simple moves. He wasn't doing anything fancy. It was simple, old school type of basketball. He was in the paint, which is a rarity because nobody does that either in the NBA. He was on the paint, on the box, simple layup, moving to the basket. He was cutting to the basket. He was, reaching for rebounds. I thought he played a hell of a game. I was very impressed by what he did. But I think that, and like I said, there was some bright sides to that game, and that the Knicks, like what we saw last season, they don't put their head down. They was able to stay in that game. They didn't get blown out in these two losses. But I think that those little things that we've been talking about, these are things they have to address. The boxing out. You got to stop freaking watching. You're not at the movie theaters. You're not watching film at practice. The Knicks didn't even practice yesterday because they came back from Atlanta. So they didn't practice yesterday. So we'll see how they play tonight.
Yeah.
But, that was that whole thing with Houston. Knicks lost 97-109. Mikal Bridges played 40. And then you notice the minutes are going up for some people. He played 40 minutes. He finished with 15 points. He also had 4 turnovers. OG Anunoby played 40 minutes. He had 21 points, 6 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns played 32 minutes. He finished with 17 points in that game. He had 3 turnovers. He had 19 rebounds. He was 3 for 4 from the free throw line. and he was 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. Jalen Brunson played 42 minutes. He finished with 29 points. Only had 1 turnover, 3 rebounds, and he had 8 assists in that game. And Josh Hart played 38 minutes. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line, finished with 12 points, 1 turnover, 4 boards. Pretty decent game. And then Jericho Sims is only getting the minutes that he's getting because of circumstance, because there's no Mitchell Robb or Precious Achua. But I agree with you. The Knicks have to figure it out and stop just relying Tibbs. Stop just relying on Jericho Sims. Give Huck Porty some time and try to give him something out there so he can get the experience throughout this game. He played 16 minutes.
Yeah, he played 16. What, you couldn't divvy that up between Huck Porty and Sims?
Right. And this is what I'm not understanding, why he's given Sims so many minutes and we're not getting anything out of him. It's just not making any sense. And it's almost, what it reminds me of? The way he plays Sims, like when people work those union jobs and the manager's like, oh, well, he's been here longer. His tenure is longer than yours, so that's why he's getting more hours than you. Who cares that he's been here longer? He's not doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's what it's looking like, the way Tibbs is going with rocking with Sims, I guess, because the trust level is a little bit higher there, but he's not giving him anything. Quite backwards, if you ask me. Anyways, the Knicks played Atlanta. Knicks lost that game as well, 116 to 121. Their rookie, how you say his name? Rishashar?
Yeah.
It's almost sound like the candy. Rishashar.
Oh, yeah.
He finished with a career night, 33 points.
Yep.
And before I read off his stats, this sounds like stats that would happen at the Garden. But playing in Atlanta is like playing in Brooklyn or playing at the Garden. It's the Knicks' second home. He finished with 33 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 block shots. He knocked down 6 3-pointers. He was 11 from 18 from the field. That's the most by a rookie this season. And then they had Jalen Johnson finish with 23 points, 15 boards. Trae Young finished with 23 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, plus a word for the Knicks fans at the end of the game. He's clearly salty that there's a lot of Knicks fans supporting the Knicks in Atlanta. Nothing new, Trae. Not sure why he felt the need to make a comment at the end of the game. Knicks were led by Cat with 34 points, 16 rebounds, better game from him, and Jalen Brunson scored 21 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Knicks had 16 turnovers in that game. Yeah. And they also got outbeat in points in the paint, 58 to 36. Had a slow start to that game, but they played well in the final 3 quarters. But somehow we couldn't figure out Richard. He was everywhere. Threes, middies, layups. I had to look down to see if he changed his sneakers or something was different. I said, why? Because even the commentators say he's on one tonight, folks. He's feeling it. I said, yeah, and no one's guarding him. And one thing that I noticed was that Trae said, y'all gonna leave me open or not double team me? He it was just wide open for him to do his alley-oops that he loves to do. He didn't really have to work too hard because I didn't feel like the defense was that good on Trae, if you ask me. It wasn't really good at all, if you ask me on everybody, because that rookie, Rishashire, was having his way. Rebounding wise, we look small again. Yeah. Poor Cat. Lone Wolf having to fight for every board. And man, I gotta give it to him because he's down there fighting. He's not watching, he's not being lazy, but he's only one person. It's like how you made that comment about OG. You said you want OG to give you 25, you want him to play defense, he's one person. And that's the same way what I said to myself when I'm watching Cat. He's one person. We can't expect him to get every rebound.
Yeah.
He's going to do the best that he can. But unfortunately, we don't have the height. We don't have the rim protection. You don't have guys to help out. What were your thoughts on that Atlanta game?
Another game, excuse me, my allergies. Another game, they were out hustled, out rebounded, height. They were at a deficit again. Um, so Houston used their physicality. Atlanta used their height to their advantage. So these are things like, the Knicks will figure out, and I think once when everybody comes together, that all that will be figured out. Like you said, too many turnovers. The bench, you know, was a non-factor. Deuce, has 16, but then and Cole, look, he was a little spark, but again, the bench outside of Deuce, Cole with that, that spark off the bench, and he does make the most of his minutes. Um, you know, the Hawks, they got easy buckets. Like, so
Yeah.
when you're not playing defense, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get easy buckets. The Knicks, for whatever reason, they was hitting the threes, but how you shoot 22 for 47, you still lose. Make that make sense. But again, these are things that they'll figure out. You know, lacking interior defense. Um, we Cat was great. He was phenomenal. Again, Jalen, he did struggle down the stretch. So, that's something that's like, and he even said, "Oh, I got to do better."
Mm-hmm.
We hear that a lot, and he does better maybe the next game, and he 2-3 games he plays great, and he goes right back to, and love him. He's the point guard for the Knicks. He's that guy, but at some point, like, you gotta, I don't know, trust, but you have to trust your teammates. I don't know when that's gonna happen. At how many games will that take for that trust factor to set in? But you do, you have to trust your teammates, and believe that they can score and get you that needed basket if need be. Um, you know they just had no answer for the Hawks. As quite frankly, like their first round pick, Zach. I'm not even gonna pronounce his last name. He put on a clinic. For the Knicks. They just didn't have no answer for them again because they lack height. So that was Cat he's getting more touches, which is great because that was the previous few games where the Cavs he got like 8 touches. Like he had Jalen is getting him more involved, so you see that as the games progress, where he's getting those touches, but it's just the other things like they have to like handle that ball a lot better, like those turnovers, man. Like they're sloppy, and that results in the transition baskets for your opponent. So like these are things that they have to clean up, and that has nothing to do with your. Well, it does partly with your depth because you're tired. So when you become tired, you make careless mistakes. So that does play a factor. So I'm not even gonna say that has nothing to do with it. But these are the things that they like. Will the iron out those kinks. But for the most part, the Hawks, put on the clinic for them, and use their height to their advantage.
Yeah, but do you feel like Cat is getting the ball because he's getting the touches, or he's getting touches more so because of the way the flow of the game is? Like, is the offense being ran so that he can get more touches, or is Cat getting touches because circumstances in the game and that's how he's able to, he's getting the ball because of whatever play or lack of play, just the
Mm.
way the game inflow of the game is moving, he's able to get the ball. Because when I watch the game, I don't necessarily feel like Tibbs necessarily wants to set it up, the offense up so that Cat gets the ball, like we're running the offense through him. But I also don't see, to me, I think Jalen has to do, and this is not a pick on Jalen's show, but I'm just saying that I think Jalen has to do a better job at, this is one of the critiques that I saw some people gave Asia Wilson and why they lost against the Liberty. Like people said, yeah, we know you could score, we know you could get rebounds, but they felt like she should have facilitated the ball and set other people up, which sometimes take the defense off of you as that good scorer, rebounder. And with Brunson, I would like to see him, as you're going through these trials and tribulations now early in the season, work on that, develop that two-man game so you're getting Cat more involved and you got the pick and roll versus it just seems more like, remember when Brunson first came to the Knicks and it was like him and Randall was separately playing individual ball, and it took a while before the Knicks started playing together. And I would like to see him figure out not only just the two-man game, but if you're gonna drive at times, we know you could make those easy baskets. You're good on the in the paint on the block, but sometimes you got to be able to drive and kick out to Mikal or drive and kick out to OG. And maybe sometimes if they get that ball, then they make the unselfish extra pass, you know. And I'm not saying that the Knicks don't do it, but they don't do it enough. And I would like to see Jalen get that two-man game going more, whether it's the lob, whether it's, you know, however you find him. I don't know. But I just don't feel like Cat is getting the ball enough in that within the offense in a play. It's more like he happens to get the ball because whoever got the ball really quickly gave it to him and he's able to knock down the shot, the 3-point shot or whatever, or he drives to the basket.
Well, you just said it right there. When he was playing with Randall, when Jalen first came, he was playing with Randall. It took him a while. So, and the same thing's going to happen here. You know, it's going to take them some time. 7 games, you know, that's not indicative of, you know, not much. So again, it's going to take them a while. And I do agree with you. I don't think Cat is getting the touches because the offense is when it's like he's getting them because he's on the floor, you know, he's creating his own. Well, and rightfully so. But again, as they play more, I would liken that it would be the offense, you know, will be ran through him more because, you know, even Ted, you know, he even, you know, when Cap didn't get all those touches and it resulted in that loss with the Cavs, he even said, you know, we got to learn to get him more involved. So I guess the more they play, the more involved they will get him, and it will, you know, come that, you know, cohesiveness or, you know, whatever you want to call it, the chemistry that will develop. So it's just a matter of time, you know, that you know, the more they play, he'll develop that 1-2 like he did with Randall. So, you know.
Yeah. It's funny because when I do see Jericho out on the floor, immediately I'm annoyed, one. And then two, I noticed Jalen doesn't trust giving the ball to Jericho.
Would you?
He doesn't even look to give him the ball. It's almost like with Sims, he's in the way. So he's trying to, you know how sometimes they're trying to set that, like, not a moving screen, but they're trying to set that screen so that the guard can get to the basket. So Jericho's trying to do that, but he's also in the way. And I just think that there's no trust unless you know you have a clean alley oop you can give to him and he's going to make the dunk. Otherwise, he's not getting the ball. There's no trust. I don't even see anyone else try to give him the ball because it's like, no, he's almost just a decoy out there. And this is what I mean. Like, if he only played 10 minutes against Atlanta, but you couldn't give Huck Porty a couple of minutes. This is what I don't understand. Huck Porty almost looks like Randall's cousin, right? He looked like he could be Randall's long lost cousin. Every time I see him, I'm like, yo, he looks like he could be related to Randall. And I think it's with the hairstyle that he has going on. But
You
I
digest.
I think that we have to figure out. Tibbs has to figure out a way to give Huckporty some minutes because I'm noticing he's giving Kolek the minutes. He's giving
Yeah.
him some minutes.
Well,
I think he should even give Daddy a couple of minutes here and there. He's not giving him minutes. But he definitely needs to give Huckporty to me some of the minutes. I'm not sure why he's not getting the minutes. Mikal Bridges played 39 minutes against Atlanta. He finished with 10 points. He did have 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 rebounds. He was 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. OG Anunoby finished with 41 minutes. He had 15 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. He was 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. Carl Anthony Towns played 38 minutes. He finished with 34 points. He had 3 turnovers, 3 blocks, 1 steal, 1 assist, 16 boards. Um, he was 7 for 7 from the free throw line. He was 5 for 9 from the 3-point line. Brunson played 37 minutes, finished with 21 points. He had 4 assists, 3 turnovers. And he was 4 for 11 from the 3-point line. Josh Hart played 38 minutes, finished with 14 points. He had 3 turnovers as well. He finished with a 1 block, 1 steal, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 for 4 from the 3-point line. Not too bad of a game for Josh Hart. Deuce, he finished with 28 minutes. He finished with 16 points. He had 1 block, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. He was 2 for 2 from the free throw line and 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. And Kolek played 9 minutes, finished with 6 points, 1 assist, 2 for 2 from the 3-point line, and 2 for 2 field goal wise. So, I don't know. I think that we have to figure out a way, because there's still no timeline yet to when Precious is coming back. There's still no definite timeline yet to when Mitch is coming back. And even when Mitch comes back, I'm sure he's going to be on limited minutes because I think you need to tread lightly with him so he doesn't injure something else when he comes into a game. But yeah, I think that this whole lack of height situation and also the Knicks' lack of depth is apparent for them this season. It's just we don't really have a bench. I have an asterisk next to that. That was one of my issues with last year. I understand we were not healthy, so they had to move up. But nonetheless, I don't know. I think there's some things that this Knicks team really has to address. 16 turnovers is not going to cut it. Getting beat in the paint is not going to cut it. This Knicks team is more than capable of scoring, but I do think that they have to figure out a way to play better defense. The defense is
uh,
just not good. It's not good.
no, I agree. It's the rebounds. I think for the most part, I think that until they get that size back, Achua, Mitch, I think the rebounds to me they're gonna be in a deficit. Yeah, there's gonna be games where they out rebound the team, but right now they're lacking that. So we're gonna see, and it's gonna fluctuate. As far as who's out. On the offensive end, the glass. So I think that's gonna happen until we get a more healthier team. Because Payne is out. You know, so
Yeah.
you missing like four core. What's that? Mitch, Precious, Payne, and it was somebody else. I can't
I think
remember,
that was
but
it.
even still, so well, who?
I thought that was
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's it. So that's gonna fluctuate, and we're not gonna see a real significant difference, because you can't rely on OG and Bridges to give you a double, and rebounds. It is what it is. Um, and just like the I don't want to say physicality, but they Knicks they gotta toughen up,
Yeah,
because
I
their
agree.
identity last season was their rebounding. And so, but that's gonna come. But they gotta toughen up, because you don't want to develop bad habits. You want to break this now. These are things that they gotta like clean up. 'Cause you don't want to finger pointing and giving these lackluster efforts. Not that they are, but when you're in a losing end and you constantly lose it's not nice. It's not pretty. You your expectations are is to make it, and that's another thing. Even Jalen Brunson said, he even said something about he's not meeting the expectations that he's put on himself. So could that be partly why again overthinking? I don't know, but I want to ask you a question. Do you think with the physicality that's being played on Brunson, do you think that that's kind of taking him out of his game?
No, because I think you need to be prepared for good defense.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
just like when we see players who's playing really good defense and we're like, that was just better offense.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think that Brunson has to know too, like, this is why I always say, like, as a professional basketball player or in any sport, your level of IQ, and in not this case, we're talking about basketball, your basketball IQ has to be up there. Like, you have to know that certain defense is going to come at you, whether it's a double team, it's a taller wing guard, it's a he a lot of times is able to have his way when he has a bigger 4 or 5 center on him. It works in his favor, right? He can either dish the ball off or he can go around them and get his move off and whatever, get the points. But I think that Brunson, that's where your basketball IQ has to come and play. And I don't think pulling out the whole, oh, well, the defense. Yeah, defenses are reading. And I remember you said this a while ago, even before the season started. You were like, they're going to read and know what Jalen Brunson's going to do. But you can't say, well, I've reached my ceiling and that's my entire bag and all that I can bring to the table, whether you're playing for the Knicks or any other team. You know what I mean? Like, if that's all that you can do and you can't figure out how to maneuver and fix your game to whatever type of defense is being thrown at you, then that's a problem. So
yeah,
I think with Brunson, he just has to figure out how to get other guys involved, be a facilitator, but still have that balance of being able to go off and give this team what they need. Don't hesitate. That being indecisive and getting too much in your head and overthinking, he has to get out of that. We're gonna
yeah,
need you down in the beginning of the game, just like we're gonna need you down at the end in the stretcher games as well. So I think that he just has to figure out that balance and knows how to read. Okay, this is what the defense is giving me. This is what I'm going to give and throw at them at the same time. Whether that's him going one on one, and even that you could limit because you should be getting other guys involved, or him and developing that 2-man game. And that's where you got to have that help, and that trust has to be within everyone, where you can have the high screens or you could have a guy come, whatever the case may be. But I would hope that this is not Jalen Brunson at his peak of his career. He hasn't reached his ceiling and this is all he can do. I'm sure there's more that he can bring, but he has to stop overthinking and just go out there and just play. Don't I don't care if you getting double team, triple team, you got a big one, you got to know how to maneuver and get out of those situations, just like I think he does a good job when he doesn't stop his dribble. But like even against Atlanta, he had the ball a little bit above the free throw line at the top of the key. He had nowhere to go. He was doing this. He went to pass it to Josh Hart, and the rookie stole it right from him and went down the floor and just. And then on top of that, he didn't go for the layup or the dunk. Pulled it out, shot a 3-point shot, and I was like, damn, Josh didn't even play good defense. You let him shoot a three. It wasn't like he was ahead and then created some space and then shot the three. He was looking to see who else was going to come down the floor, and there was only one other person down on the Hawks, and I guess he said, well, I'll just take the three. And I knew it was a bad play, and there was another one that the Knicks did, and even the commentator said, he said, no one on the Knicks came down and played defense. They just watching. And Mike Breen, when we was playing Houston, he bang and calling the game. Like I said, Mike, I thought you was with the Knicks. He would sound like he was rooting for Houston. But I said, well, I guess because they, like you said, the physicality was there. They're playing tougher. They're faster. The Knicks just gotta kick things into gear. They gotta get quicker. They gotta get faster. You can't have these slow first quarters. You can't have a slow third quarter. You got to figure out how to. Okay, if you know you don't have the height, then everybody has to box out. Standing around anticipating where the ball is going to go is not going to help you. You got to be able to box out guys and get the rebound. You know, so the Knicks have to. They have to figure that out. And if you can't figure out what to do with Shigun or Shingun, can't figure out how to stop him, what you gonna do against Giannis tonight?
Well, they did a hell of a practice today and figure some things out. You know, because everybody want to come to the Garden and be that Nick killer. So, and not just Giannis, you know, Dame is playing. You know, he's balling. So, you know, now he's a guy that again they got to guard. You know, there's some things they're gonna have to do definitely for tonight's game. You know, again, you don't develop those bad habits, and you don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole of the loss column. You know,
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is why you fix all the kinks and stuff now. I mean, the Knicks play Milwaukee tonight, Friday night Knicks. They're at home. I'm looking for the Knicks to rebound these next two games. Now, look, Milwaukee, they lost on Monday to Cleveland by 2. It's a close game. Then they rebound yesterday and they beat Utah 100-123. So that gave them their second win so far this season. Giannis had 31 points, 16 rebounds. Lillard had 34.7 assists, 4 rebounds. Bobby Portis Jr. had 19 points. And it was pretty much them too. And then AJ Green had 12. But Giannis is who you gotta, clearly Cat is going to be guarding him. He has to figure out how to stop him. I mean, and Bobby Portis Jr., because when they lost by 2 to Cleveland, Portis Jr. finished with a double-double. He had 21 points, 18 rebounds. Brook Lopez had 13. Dame Dollar had 36. And AJ Green had 21. Because Giannis didn't even play that game. And
that was a good.
Yeah. So you can't come out, the crowd's going to be behind you no matter what, but the Knicks got to wake up. They got to wake up. They got to tighten up. That's the thing. That's the word I wanted to use tonight. Tighten up. Because I feel like, I titled this episode, What's Missing? And I don't think the answer is necessarily, oh, we need to bring in some other type of help, a player, and sign somebody. That's not the answer. I think the answer is a little bit of it is Tibbs. I know he can't physically go on that court and play, but I think a little bit is Tibbs. I think the other part of it is defensively, the Knicks need to figure out some things and get better and tighten up defensively. They need to box out and talk to each other when they do defensive switches. And then I think offensively, I think the starters have to be more well balanced, where you get a little bit of something from all 5 guys. And then, from the bench, you really only have Deuce. And then this is where Tibbs needs to play Kolek, maybe give Huck Porty and Daddy some minutes in certain games. Offensively, I'm not worried about the Knicks, but I think also the Knicks need to protect the ball better. Can't have 16 turnovers, 17, 19 turnovers. It's just too many. You got it. Can't be sloppy like that. So I don't know. I want to see the Knicks tonight. Milwaukee likes to run. Giannis with those long legs, with that Euro step, you got to figure out a way to stop him and slow him down. I'm assuming he's going to play because when they say players are questionable against the Knicks tonight, they end up playing. So I don't see him sitting down. Yeah. And then Dame, who do you think is going to be on Dame? Mikel or OG?
Probably, probably OG, but they'll probably even do some switching with him on Giannis. Just the coverage. So, but probably OG.
So who guards Portis Jr.?
Well, he's not a starter. He's not starting, is he?
Yeah, but
Oh,
he's
oh,
somebody.
and for Chris Middleton, I think he.
Yeah, because Middleton's another Kawhi, always hurt. Another Mitchell Rob, always hurt. But I think that he's a factor. He's someone who gives them
Oh,
points. So this is why I'm saying, like, who's gonna guard him, because he's gonna go out there and do what he needs to do and give them points that they need. So
Lopez, he can shoot, hit that three.
and
He
he
can hit
loves that
that.
shortest three, that corner one. You gotta watch Lopez,
Mhm.
and he's a good rebounder. He may be old, but
Yeah.
he's he's still got it. Nick Yak said, "Who's 6'7" OG covering Bobby Portis?" I can't watch that. Hope we can start someone bigger.
Oh, we
I,
don't have any.
I was gonna,
Unfortunately,
yeah, because what Sims is just a decoy. He's just a body.
Sims is as athletic as he is. He's only good for setting screens.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all he's good for. You're not going to get no offensive production out of him.
yeah. Sims is he Sims is not gonna take his game to the next level. We can hang that one up. Don't hold your breath. He's not gonna take his game to another level that, I think some fans, a small percentage of fans probably thought Jericho Sims was going to do. I think that Tibbs is giving Sims the floor and saying, go ahead. And opportunity is about to be up. He's
Yeah.
only hanging around because Mitchell Robinson is still hurt. And it's
Oh,
unfortunate that he's not capitalizing on that, but he's done. But
yeah, because even when he come back, he's going to get relegated to the bench.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Mikel has one of the hardest jobs on his team defensively. He always has to defend, usually one of the top guards on the opposing team, which means he will most likely be guarding Dame.
Hmm.
What are your expectations when it comes to that lineup, that matchup defensively? Do you have any expectations from Mikel? Do you feel confident that he can keep up with Dame and still be able to capitalize offensively when we get down the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. He's struggling, but he. I mean, I have confidence in him that he's gonna be able to work both ends of the floor. Um, to what degree? Like, will we get 25 points? That's up in the air. So I'm at a toss up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the Knicks, you know, Milwaukee's a tall team. And I think that
Yeah,
tonight
good.
is going to be one of those games where I think you got to have all hands on deck for rebounds and maybe just one decoy ready to get back in case they someone gets the rebound and they throw it up the floor and for an easy quick basket. But this Knicks team have to realize, and this is what Tibbs and the coaching staff need to say, like, you don't have the height. You don't have like last year where you had Hartenstein, Mitch, you have Precious, you have Randall. You don't have that this year. So everybody needs to box out. Everybody needs to crash the boards. Don't watch. Because if I see somebody tonight out on the wing on Milwaukee and they go in and get a rebound, I'm gonna be upset. So the Knicks, is critical that they help Cat out with the rebounding. It's critical that they get stops, and they have to stop the 3-pointers because this team, Milwaukee, could shoot the three. It's not just Dame that's gonna knock down threes. Portis Jr. shoots threes. Brook Lopez shoots threes. They're gonna be out there chucking them up. So I don't know. I think the Knicks just have to come out aggressive tonight too, because those last two games they had slow starts. Don't put yourself in a position where you got to fight to get back in the game. I don't want to see that happen tonight either. So I want to see the Knicks, and I don't know. I don't know what's missing as far as the Knicks, the disparity of them getting killed with points in the paint.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that the Knicks aren't driving enough and taking the ball into the paint enough, or is it the defense? Is it the combination of both?
It's a combination of both. And Tibbs, he wants them to shoot more threes. He said it. So it's a combination of both of that. They just not driving, and then they're shooting a whole heck of a lot of threes. So that's what they're relying on.
Because Tibbs, like you said, he wants them shooting threes. But see, that could hurt you. I don't think telling them to shoot all those threes is the best idea. Like, yeah, the Knicks could shoot threes. They at the top of the league for shooting threes, and the 3-point is made. But is that the smartest thing to be doing every game, to be shooting lights out from the threes versus having balance of shooting threes and taking the ball in the paint? I don't like that. I don't like that as a coach telling you, yeah, I'm encouraging them to shoot more threes. Is there no inside game anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like the NBA now is all about everybody shooting threes. Nobody wants to razzle and dazzle and work hard in the paint, or, make a move into the paint that's tough, that takes work. Those off of one shot fade away. Like, we don't really see. Nobody wants to do that anymore. Everybody's lazy. They want to just shoot threes. It's incredible. And then you see articles talking about NBA viewership is down at the start of the season. I wonder why.
Wow. Exactly.
Also, not to mention, every time you turn around, there's a player that's hurt on every team. Everybody's hurt at the start of the season. I don't know if it's the diets. I don't know if it's that guys are playing these, because you don't have to go overseas like the WNBA players. They somehow bodies are made of steel. They're able to play at the start of their season. Going over to Turkey and Russia and playing overseas, and they coming back healthy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the NBA guys, the diets that they're eating. I don't know if it's I'm playing all of these pickup games when we're off close to the season to get back in shape and exhausting your body, and then by the time you get to training camp, you ain't right or you hurt something. I don't know what it is. Everybody seems to be, from every team, somebody's down like a fly. And it's a man down situation and somebody's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why viewership is down. People are a little bored. Maybe maybe when the in-season tournament weeks start, it'll get a little bit more entertaining. But yeah, it's just it's getting real basic level. It's literally just all threes. It's yeah, I don't know. But we'll see tonight. What are your keys for tonight for the Knicks to stop Milwaukee and to win tonight's game? Because the Knicks need to win this game.
For sure, yeah. Well, definitely guard that perimeter. Do
Yeah.
some boxing out. Watch your turnovers. Um, share the ball. Move the ball. And please definitely play a solid defense. Come out aggressive, and they will because they're home. And play that way. Play the whole 40 minutes. So if they could just do those things amongst a plethora of things, but I think that they definitely have to dictate this game from that the tip ball, definitely. So that's just amongst some of the things. What say you?
Same. I want to see this team implement the two-man game, Brunson and Cat. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see Mikel, OG, Josh, and Deuce be aggressive offensively and defensively collectively as a team, but I want to see those particular guys step up as well. I want to see an extra pass offensively. Most of the time, if they can play that unselfish ball. I also want to see more guys cutting to the basket for the Knicks. I don't see enough guys cutting to the basket enough, if you ask me. I just want to see that a little bit more. Um, and definitely got to box out, uh, attack the basket, get more points in the paint. Don't allow Milwaukee to outscore you with the points in the paint. I don't think that should happen where you get a third game in a row where you get beat with the points in the paint. I want to see guys, rebound the ball, box out, and play more physical. I feel like this Knicks team definitely are not playing that Knicks gritty, tough basketball. It's just not physical enough from what we've seen from the past from New York Knicks. I know it's not the '90s Knicks, but I need this Knicks team to be a lot more aggressive and gritty and tougher against their opponents and look like they want it more. Um, and I'm not saying that the Knicks don't want it, but they just have to come out a lot more aggressive than what they've been playing like. And we'll see. And I hope to see maybe a balance juggling of minutes between Huckporty and Sims. I like Kolick still getting the minutes. I think he should continue to get the minutes as that maybe third option and get some of those playing minutes that Campaign would be getting. And I would like to see Pacome Daddier get some minutes as well. I mean, you have guys who are more than capable. I don't want to see them sitting down every night, looking to come in. So yeah, I definitely want to see just get some stops. I don't want to see them shooting lights out from the three. I think Dame needs to be put on lock. Portis Jr., Giannis, Brooke Lopez, they need to be put on lock. Salute Kareem. He said, how long do you think we need to gel? I think it's gonna take the Knicks definitely, um, you know, I would say at least like 20 games, 25 games before they really start to gel. But I'm happy that the Knicks are working out the kinks now. Like, make the mistakes you need to make now, and then, maybe when you get to a little past midway, I don't want to see these type of mistakes happening. Or same thing at the late stretch of the season. I don't want to see this type of stuff happening. But I want to say give the Knicks at least 20, 25 games to really figure things out, to gel, to figure out how they're going to gel together and play better together as a team. It took them a little while last year to figure that out. And once they did it, it was beautiful to see. So I think, give them that time. I think also give them time to get Precious in the game, to get Mitchell Robinson back. That'll be a huge jump and leap for them as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say give them at least that 20, 25 games to get back in the game. And yeah, we'll see them come back in, and hopefully we'll see them start to gel and come back together. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that it's definitely gonna take some time because right now they're still trying to figure things out. So we'll see. Um, Parrish said people don't cut because people don't pass. Well, they're probably not passing because people aren't cutting. That's why. I'm not sure what's going on with you, D Blocks. You all over the place. Nick Yak said a 6'7" power forward is a mistake. Well, we don't want to say that just yet. We don't know. You know, I think that we have to continue to trust the process. We have to continue to trust the front office and continue to trust that they're going to get things done. And this team will pull through and prevail. I'm not giving up on this next team yet. It's too early. It's too soon. They can turn things around. They just have to figure it out. And the growing pains are going to be there. And this is part of it. I don't see us reverting back to absolute garbage. But I think that this team, they have to, we made some tweaks in the off season. We got rid of a few guys, got in some new guys who haven't played for this team. So this Knicks team just has to figure out how to play together, and they will. Lorraine Davison said they should have never let Randall go. Cat too soft. I think that we have to stop holding on ties to like past players on this Knicks team. When the Knicks traded and got rid of Toppin, people were still talking about Toppin for like over a year. And I was like, we got to move on. We have to move on. When we traded for OG and got rid of RJ and quickly, took a lot of Knicks fans a while to get over that as well. And I think that if we keep in our minds that we should have held on to Randall and Devo, we're not believing in who we have now and that this Knicks could turn it around. Like you can't high praise and be with this team when they do well. But when they're going through their growing pains, you're kind of like, oh, I don't know. I'm questioning. Maybe we should have kept Randall and we should have kept Devo. And you and I was just talking about this, how Dante DiVincenzo is a good shooter, but Mikal Bridges is a better player. Because what Mikal Bridges could do on the floor, we weren't seeing that from Dante DiVincenzo, who was also a streaky shooter. Did he have an excellent career best season being on the Knicks? Absolutely. Did he help us out and step up when we had a lot of injuries? Absolutely. He helped us out in a lot of games. But I think that when you really watch what Bridges does on the floor versus what Devo can do on the floor, it's two different players. And to me, I think that Dante at times was proven that he can get to the basket, but he was kind of 1-2 dimensional and somewhat of a box. Whereas Mikal, he can post up, he can shoot the three, he can shoot the mid range, he can drive. The defense is there, so it's a little bit more versatility under his belt versus what you compare with Dante DiVincenzo could do. And with Randall really grew his game being on the Knicks. He's grown a lot. He's gotten really good. And you could even see like Randall has this confidence because he knows what he can do as a player with his game. However, I think at times, and again, this is minus Randall getting his injuries because he's not an injury prone player. I think sometimes with Randall, and I think maybe sometimes it was a combination of Tibbs and the way that he ran the offense. And then there was at times a little part of it was to blame on Randall, where it was a little bit too much dribbling, a little bit too much ISO ball. And it slowed the Knicks offensively down. And with Karl-Anthony Towns, you get height, you get a taller player, you get a guy that can do what Randall does, but in his own way on a consistent night. and a guy who can play a true versatile 4 or 5. Randall definitely had the physicality and the toughness to play a 5 if needed, but he's not as tall as Cat to and the longer arms and a wingspan to give you that. But I just think that the styles of play is a lot different. And do I think that this Knicks team is gonna miss Randall and Devo? Yes. But I'm trusting the front office. I'm trusting the process. I'm putting trust in Tibbs, even when I still question him at times. But I think that this Knicks team, they're going through the growing pains. They're gonna prevail past it. So I don't know. I don't think that you know, it's up to the Knicks to prove that they can win games. We can't go by shoulda, coulda, woulda, or damn, we missed Randall. We have Randall and Devo. How y'all know we would have won those games? Because Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson probably would have still been out. Now Precious, probably not. But Mitchell Robinson, I can bet my bottom dollar he would have probably most likely been out if we had Randall. So now you would have Randall having to do the same job as Karl Anthony Towns, which was gonna be that was the talk. We were saying, okay, the Knicks would have to go small and Randall would have to play the center. But we should have all kind of known that there was this strong possibility the Knicks were gonna look to move Randall because he had 2 playoffs where he couldn't play because he was injured. So I'm sure they was questionable. Do we want to keep gambling and give him his payout? He was due more money to pay him to do that. If not, we should just cut ties and move on. It's a business. The NBA is a business, just like
Yeah.
it's a business for the players to get their bag. It's a business for the teams as well. So, I think that I don't know. We can't necessarily bank on saying like, yeah, if we had Randall, we would have won and beat Houston and Atlanta. How we know that for sure that we would have beat them?
We don't.
Karl Anthony Towns just doesn't fit the Knicks culture like Randall, Oakley, or the greatest Ewing. I don't know. I don't agree with that. And this is, you know, Lorraine Davidson. This is part of why we love the chat because we like to hear everybody's opinions on what they think. But I think we gotta give Cat and Bridges an opportunity to prove that they fit the Knicks culture. Because right now, the Knicks as a whole don't look like Knicks culture. So we can't just blame it on or necessarily point out certain players and say, well, Cat doesn't really look like he's Knicks culture. Mikal don't really look like he's Knicks culture because when I'm looking at the Knicks team as a whole, they don't really look like they're playing like Knicks culture. Right now, they look a little lost. And they look like they have some
Yeah,
things
I
to
don't know
work.
how choppy I am.
Yeah, you choppy. But I think that Cat fits this Knicks team perfectly. I think whenever I watch Cat, I'm like, wow, this is what we wanted from Mitchell Robinson. But we only had a defensive presence, Mitchell Robinson. So Karl Anthony Towns is giving the Knicks what they haven't had in the center. That versatility, not only defensively, but offensively. And he for sure fits because he spaces out the floor. It's just that we're not running the offense right, just like we're not locked in defensively. So let's trust the process. This team is gonna make it happen. I know the game is about to start. We'll be back on Sunday. The Knicks will be playing Indiana, so we'll be pregame before that, and yeah, we'll see. I would say anything else from you, but you chopper style, chopping.
Funny.
This is the last one. Kareem said, "Would you rather have Sims or McGee?" Oh, I'd rather take McGee.
Me
I'll
too.
definitely take McGee. You'll get a lot more out of him than you'll get from Sims for sure. Rather anything than Sims. Exactly. Exactly. Salute to the chat, everybody, for joining us this Friday. Not our usual day, but salute to everybody. Salute to Cully, Wonder Woman, Nostalgic Nick, Parish Duggar for joining us as well. Who else? Hit him up. Salute to you as well. DN, welcome back. A Negro One, Kareem Grant, Corey Lee from the 718 Boys. Salute to Corey for tuning in. I haven't seen Corey here in a while. Rondu 1973. Salute to you as well. I seen you here before. And salute to Lorraine Davison, APAP, Dorcosaurus _ Rex. Salute to you as well. And that's it. Salute to y'all. Everybody have a beautiful weekend. Let's go Knicks. I'm looking for the Knicks to go 2-0 between tonight and Sunday. Catch us back here Sunday morning at 11. Peace, everybody.